what was Woodward's most recent book, Fear? And of course, it's always negative about Donald Trump because he's a mockingbird. And the CIA specifically hates Donald Trump because he's rattling their cage. And the CIA will do anything, and I mean anything, to survive, self-perpetuate itself. So he went after Trump in his book, and he is now a well-known fabricator. I don't think you can read any of Bob Woodward's book and believe everything that's in there. Now, the one exception is Bill Casey leaked classified information selectively to Woodward in the book Veil, because Casey wanted that out to the American public. And that Woodward took that. What he does is he takes things and makes himself look legitimate, and then he puts a lie in there. That's his MO. And he did that in his recent book, Fear. But it's always against anyone that challenges the intelligence community or the national security state. It's always an attack on that. And of course, Donald Trump.
Yeah. It's actually really interesting because Tulsi Gabbard being announced, it seems to have rattled the cages of the deep state.
Sure has.
For me, the marker of that is I view Nikki Haley to be just an entire deep state clone. She's just always talking about war, war, war. Let's go to war with Iran. Let's go to war with everyone. And she really came out against Tulsi Gabbard in a huge way.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting because everything she was saying sounded to me like, this makes me like Tulsi Gabbard more. She's like, Tulsi Gabbard thinks that Julian Assange should be pardoned and Edward Snowden should be pardoned. And I'm going, do you understand what you're actually saying to the American people? Is that people that reveal information about the deep state should essentially be tried and life in prison, and she calls this protecting our interests.
And Nikki's been connected to the military-industrial complex for years. She's a deep stater from the word go. Obviously, Trump knows that, the team knows that, and that's why she doesn't have any position. But, you got to admire the poetic justice, because they had Tulsi Gabbard on a terrorist watch list. They were following her wherever she went for no reason other than her opinions on Ukraine and other things. And now all of a sudden she's in charge of them as over DHS. I mean, you gotta love that. And that's the kind of thing we need, is people from the outside like that, especially people that have been attacked by the shadow government deep state that are now going back in to really clean some house. First time in my entire career I've seen this actually possible. And somebody pinch me and wake me up, because I think I'm dreaming. But it's going to be a battle from now on, getting rid of these deep staters, especially in the CIA and their bureaucrats. It's going to be a war. So we should be excited, but at the same time, really concerned and keep our eye on these people, because they're going to try to stop this.
Right. And I do believe that some people around Trump are obviously deep state plants, because the fact that Mike Pompeo's name was actually being floated. Yeah. And that was real. I know people in his inner circle, they were shocked that people were trying to push him. And these are the people that gave tons of money to his campaign and trying to push him. Could you imagine to name Mike Pompeo? Could you get anybody that is more of a deep state plant than Mike Pompeo? He is, not even a plant, he is the deep state.
Well, yeah, it's funny, because when he was first appointed to the CIA, I remember I turned to my wife and I said, if he's an honest man, he will not be there for long. They're going to turn him. Well, what did Pompeo do? And he ruined his political career. He put an assassination order out for Julian Assange. And then he called Tucker Carlson and threatened him with arrest for talking about the Assange case. This is Mike Pompeo. He either was already deep state. The CIA has a wonderful way of turning people when they get in there. Trust me, I know. And the upper 20% of the CIA, they do not believe in democracy. They do not believe in the U.S. Constitution. They believe in the CIA and its global juggernaut staying in control and perpetuating itself. That's all they believe in. And some of them, and I've worked for some, they're basically psychotic. They're narcissists. And so Pompeo got in there, and whether he was coerced into doing that by Gina Haspel, who is a shadow government deep stater from the word go. She's the one that destroyed the torture tapes, videotapes, and it wasn't just waterboarding, it was worse. John Brennan was operating through Deputy Director Haspel against Pompeo when Pompeo was director, and so the under bureaucracy at the upper levels of the CIA was working against Pompeo while he was there. That's going to happen again. And if Ratcliffe takes over, he's going to need a team of defense people in the administration behind him, because they're going to try to put their steely knives in his back. And he absolutely needs to appoint the right deputy director underneath him that will go with the reforms that the administration has ordered him to do. Because if that's not the case, then the DDCI will undermine him. They have a whole global monstrous network to protect, and much of it illegal and criminal, including drug running and other things that they don't want coming out. So you bring a reformer like Ratcliffe in, you better be careful, and you better have outsiders come in to support him, the chief operating officer and others, that will make sure that bureaucracy doesn't try to undermine the new director.